For Great Britain, number 5, Tony Woolard in the starting rotation. Number 7, Mark Cheney. Number 8, Simon Munn. Number 10, Nigel Smith. And number 13, Joe Girantne. And off the tip, Great Britain takes over, and the ball stolen by France. Coming up the floor, Philippe Baye sends that pass over to Abu Kanate, an impressive player with all kinds of speed and skill. Pass inside to Bruno Godefroy, can't get the ball to fall, and the Brits are there to haul in the board.
I think we're going to see an awful lot out of number 6. He really changed the game against Canada, and he's a pain in the neck out there if you're playing against him.
And I think you're right, gentlemen. The thing that has to happen here is that Great Britain can't be loose on the turnovers. They just committed one major turnover and missed an easy shot. If they're going to win this game, they've got to be consistent and accurate.
And there's Philippe Noutat, sends a pass to Baye. He's guarded closely. Nice pass inside for Konate, who can't get the ball to fall, and the British break back up the floor. We've played a minute here in our first semifinal game. Great Britain taking on France. Joe Girantne and Mark Cheney exchange passes. Long pass inside for Simon Munn, and the sumo man gets our first points of the ball game. Great Britain on top 2-0.
Full court press now.
You see that both teams are moving quickly into the inside. Great Britain is trying to use the advantage of their big man.
And they did in that instance, and I think the foul was called against the Frenchman.
We have an equipment timeout. One would have to take one of your men off while a substitution would take place.
Here's that movement here, coming down, taking the ball back, and reverse himself. See, that's the amazing thing, is that reversal with the chair.
The pit stop was short-lived, and we're back to live action. Joe Girantne try to send the pass in, and it's broken up neatly by Philippe Noutat. He'll try and break things back up. 18-10 to go here in the first half. Abu Kanate connecting.
And that's not his forte. He's usually around the basket and knocking that ball loose. He's looking for turnovers, trying to shake up things. But he's going to hit open shots.
An extremely skilled player he is. Score tied at 2 as Britain tries to break back. Simon Munn sends a pass top of the key, and Girantne inside hooks up with Nigel Smith.
That's a great give and go. I mean, that's a great basketball play on any level.
What you're going to see is Nunn is going to attract a lot of attention. He's going to open up the middle for some of the guys coming through on the break.
And there's Nigel Smith again as the Brits force the turnover. Score still tied at 2. Our first semifinal game of Gold Cup 94. And some tenacious defense by both clubs, keeping this score limited so far. Philippe Baye, good hustle to keep the ball in.
Taking a look at these two teams during the earlier part here, they're a little tight. The teams have had some excellent opportunities.
That's right. We've had 2 good give and goes, one for each team, and they blew the layup, which you're not going to see very often out here.
That's right. I think you're going to see them open up this time.
I mean, they're both shooting 44% from the floor. They get about 35 rebounds a game. The only difference is France shooting about 61% and Great Britain 53 from the foul line. But other than that, you couldn't tell the difference.
I think execution will be the key. France is such a veteran team. They just seem to find a way to win.
Nigel Smith, who's seen limited action throughout this tournament, and a surprise starter, just banked that one off the rim. Goes out of bounds, and France will inbound. Picks up Great Britain's first foul of the game.
The foul situation here is the same as in it.
Jean-Yves Renaud from the top of the popper and ties this score at 4.
Well, we said before the game that he was the outside shooter. He's the guy that's going to spread it out. Common fouls committed when you're not shooting the basketball, they build up into a series. A team is allowed 7, and then you begin to shoot the basketball one-on-one.
Nice pass inside for Mark Cheney. Off the glass and in, and we were talking prior to this game, this is perhaps the best one-point player that we've seen in this tournament, and we'll get to how this point structure works a little bit later on, as Philippe Baye tried to get the layup, it wouldn't go in, and Britain takes over.
Baye just can't be missing shots like that when you have
right.
such a mismatch.
Yeah. And Great Britain better take advantage of it now, because they're not
It allows for diversity of players and yet still challenges each athlete in their own classification.
Joe Giratny, nice pass inside for Tony Woolard. He's fouled on the play.
Tony went right up. I mean, he didn't give them an opportunity not to foul him. Once he got the ball in there, he got whacked. He's yelling now. He thinks he was shooting the ball. He wants 2 shots.
Giratny to Mark Cheney, who has the ball right now. As Great Britain tries to set up inside. Tough battle inside between Bai and Woolard when it comes to able-bodied athletes, but when you're talking wheelchair basketball, it's a real tough battle inside.
Well, that's right, and that's the exact same thing that has to happen in any kind of basketball. Once somebody sets up inside, the best thing you can do is foul them.
Joe Giratny just off the mark, and that's picked up by Philippe Newton, averaging 7.4 points per game for France. Gets the ball across the timeline. Abu Kanate driving the lane. Tried to feed it for Jean-Yves Reynaud. He couldn't handle it. But France ends back up with the ball. Kanate looking to shoot. Doesn't get. And Joe Giratny takes over for Great Britain.
They've got an advantage now. There's one of the French players down at the other end.
Bruno got a flat down.
It was important that they do it right away. Here's that basket. That's right.
This is the reason why Great Britain is doing so well at this point, is because they're taking advantage of their big man. None is getting inside, and they're just really working with him.
France trying to come back, and from three-point range, it's Philippe Newton, and underneath is Tony Woolard to haul it in. Now Nigel Smith, who's leading the way with 4 points for Great Britain. Back to Simon Munn. Mark Cheney with the ball now. Smith over to Giratny. As France tries to spread out this offense. Neat check by Newton, and here comes Kanate. Jean-Yves Reynaud driving the lane, has to put on the brakes, but a nice pass across to Philippe Newton. Can't get that one to go down, and Nigel Smith breaks back for Great Britain.
France just can't buy a basket right now. They're just missing almost everything.
Nice lob pass for Tony Woolard, and he banked it off the glass and couldn't connect. 13:30 to go here in our first half.
Great Britain better take advantage of this cold spell by France. You know, as Rick said, they're not going to do this. They can't do it if they expect to stay in the game, and they're not going to do it over 20 or 40 minutes.
Philippe Bai with the three-pointer, and he's shooting quite remarkably well from three-point range for a big man at this tournament. Didn't get that one to go. And there he is again, Nigel Smith. Spin move. Guarded neatly there by Kanate. Lob pass inside for Simon Munn. And Sumo is checked on the play.
They doubled up on him in there. I mean, number 10 and number 12 just laid all over him and knocked that ball loose.
France is trying to adjust there, and so Great Britain's got to be ready to move in on the mismatch with the one-man weak on him.
And a collision between Philippe Bai and Joe Giratny.
As soon as we get to 7 common fouls not committed at the end of the half, and that's only because they can't keep them around for the second half.
And also, unlike the NBA, they have to call them from the bench, and they have to wait until play is stopped.
12:30 to go here in the first half. Our first semifinal match this evening. It's France and Great Britain. And the Brits on top 8-4. Joe Giratny, top of the popper. Try to get the pass inside, and he does. He finds Simon Munn. Tony Woolard there for the rebound, and it's batted away by the Frenchman. Joe Giratny retrieves. In terms of fouls, the Frenchmen have taken 4. Great Britain with just 1 on the board. Mark Cheney, pass it to Nigel Smith. Giratny now. As Woolard and Munn try to get some positioning inside.
Beautiful drive that caused the foul from number 7, Reynaud.
He really can handle that basketball, number 13 on Great Britain. I mean, he really moves it around very, very well. Great control of the chair.
Smith hands it off to Giratny. Pass inside for Munn. And he's struggling inside from the paint so far this evening.
And whoa. But I think the people are going to wonder, why don't they block that shot? But I know the first few times I watched wheelchair basketball, you're saying, why wouldn't he get it? Because there's a chair in there. And you'll be able to see how the defensive players just can't get at them.
Let's take a look at this foul in here. He just got the drive. pushing over to the side. There he goes, out of control. Defensive foul.
And Philippe Bai just popped a pretty pair as we are away. And the score is now 8-6 in favor of Great Britain. Big pileup of players inside, and it looks like France has been called with a foul.
I
think that's on Great Britain.
Foul against Great Britain, and that's a tough one because they were in such a great situation with the fouls, and now they've gotten 2 in a row.
I think what you're seeing is that timeout on France. What they said is that none is killing us inside. We've got to close up on him, double down, and they're going to force him to make shots from further out. And now what's happening is Nunn is getting a little aggressive and starting to try to get in there, and he's going to cause a foul. So there's been a lot of action and results for France based on that strategic timeout.
Neither team's been really able to click so far. Obviously, both teams a little tight going into this semifinal. And there's proof positive right there as Kanate and Philippe Bai get their signals crossed up. Nigel Smith.
Smith was fortunate he didn't get a foul on that issue.
A long pass for Dan Johnson. He lobs it there for Smith. Sends it inside. And Simon Munn finally gets the ball to fall.
That's the bread and butter for Great Britain in this first half.
That's right. I think we're going to see a change. Number 10 coming off him, and maybe Philippe Bai get on him, you know, to counter that size.
Abu Kanate driving hard in the lane. A little razzmatazz, didn't get the bucket, but did draw the foul.
Just what Jack mentioned at the beginning of the game, Kanate is an incredible force out there just by his movement skills alone.
Philippe Bai. Now at the top of the key, it's Jean-Yves Reynaud. Back to Bai. Guarded closely by Munn. And underneath to haul in that rebound was Tony Woolard.
Rick, you played against Bai before. Is his play should be closer to the basket? That seemed like a deep shot for me.
I believe so. And the part of that is when you've been frustrated at the beginning, you know, you're going to start to force it a bit more. And now his challenge will be to stay within himself and get back into the game.
There's Smith to Munn. Back at the top of the key, Dan Johnson leaves it there for Smith. Long shot off the rim, and hustling after it is Kanate, wisely getting in the way of Dan Johnson, and the ball simply goes out of bounds. France will take over.
That looked like a little bit of a rush shot, but I think the audience has got to understand that there's a 30-second clock up there, and the clock was winding down. About 5 or 6 seconds. Whoa!
A bucket of real goodness as he slides in back door, and France has shaved this lead down to 2 points. Great Britain on top 10-8. 9:50 to go here in our first semifinal.
Beautiful drive coming in here into the basket. Our nice camera angle from behind the bucket. Perfect.
Amazing the amount of spin these players will put on the ball because they're flying by the net. They have to get the proper amount of spin to get the ball to simply go through the cylinder. Mark Cheney exchanging passes with Dan Johnson, and he'll take the wing on that play. And more. Colin Price checks in.
Yeah. Now, Colin Price has been playing more. This is not a new basketball player.
This is Great Britain's second leading scorer, finally tapping in with just a little over 9.5 minutes to go. Kanate tries to get around Steve Kane, a pretty good player in himself. Sends a pass across to Philippe Newton. Rebound grabbed in by Bai, and he's fouled on the play.
It's significant to note that Newton is a very high percentage three-point shooter. He was 9 for 14 throughout the tournament, over 60% from three-point range. That one didn't fall for him, but expect him to go to him if the going gets tough in the final.
Shooting 2.
So Philippe Bai steps up to the line. Pardon me, Jack.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that opens it up for Philippe Bai underneath. You know, once you start coming out trying to stop those three-pointers, those big guys become more and more effective.
Bai has a pretty good tournament to his credit so far. The 6th leading scorer in the tourney, averaging about 9 points a game. Had a tournament high 43 points against the Netherlands. Got one of his 2 there, and it's 10-9 Great Britain.
For a lot of us, 43 points is a career, not a game. For crying out
That's
loud.
right.
And that's including practice for me, Jack.
That's right.
Britain with the ball right now. Simon Munn, affectionately known as Sumo, back to Kane. Gets the return pass inside. Dishes off to Tony Woolard. And Woolard, nothing but net.
that was an important shot because Nunn was trapped inside and he had to put it out.
France breaks back rather quickly by looking for Jean-Yves Renaud on the outside. He elects to shoot and gets it.
Bad guy. I mean, Great Britain's got to be aware of where he is all the time. You can't allow somebody like him to get inside the foul line and then shoot it.
Things start to open up as both teams were tight for about the first 10 minutes. Now they're playing run and gun. And number 11, Jean-Louis Granzato.
Got another offensive foul, and it really, I mean, it's changed. I was talking about Great Britain being in great shape for fouls. I think it was 5-1 at one time. Now it's 7-5, and the next time that they foul France on a common foul, one that they're not shooting on, France will get a one-on-one situation.
Konate try and set things up right now. Great Britain with a 1-point lead. Little room opening up, and Konate sees that, drives hard to the hoop, and called for the charge.
What you're seeing is a reflection of their tournament commitments here to call more offensive fouls.
Well, let's see now who gets in there. It looks like it's Price gets in there, doesn't it? Yeah, Price sets up a good position. If you get that chair in front of number 6, he's got to stop and shoot the basketball.
He had position, that's right.
And it doesn't matter if the chair is face-to-face or side-on-face. Either way, if you're set, that's a charge. Colin Price, a couple of spin moves as Great Britain tries to get positioning inside. Foul called on Bustila, and now it's 7 fouls apiece.
That's right. Now they're back right up even again. But it's not going to give either team a great advantage. Although both of them have got to be careful now and not foul.
Dan Johnson pass inside for Simon Munn. And Munn, who looked pretty cool earlier, is now heating up.
That play has worked for them too often.
Yeah, that's why Great Britain's in the game and leading to this point, is because Nunn has been able to take advantage and dominate number 8 from France.
Granzato kisses that one off the glass. Great Britain from Edmonton.
Because there's not any logic to it, and there's no real reason you should do it.
Is it just a simple lack of concentration? Or?
I think when athletes at this level.
Philippe Mouton hits the 3-16-14. France, 7:05 to go. Finish that thought if you would.
My thought is that at this level, when athletes do silly things or miss easy shots, it's because of a lack of concentration. They're either thinking about the next play or the last play instead of thinking about this play.
Lots of banging and crashing inside as Colin Price tries.
Got you beat like that.
That's right. You've got to depend on somebody else to pick them up. But that's not good. Those foul shots are supposed to put the nail in the coffin, not to give the guy another opportunity.
Price stepped up to the line with a 54% free throw percentage. Missed that one. Grant immediately comes back and couldn't get lucky with that shot by Philippe Mouton.
France is trying to light up Mouton because that's 3 3-pointers he's taken, and he's made 1.
Some good weave it inside.
Amazing to see a Class 1 actually get inside and land of the trees, who are more able-bodied and taller. He's sitting low. He's got more of a disability. Usually the rule of thumb is that you keep those guys out of the key, but he's got the ability to do something inside.
It's a 1-point ball game. France on top, 16-15, 6:10 to go. Konate, quick pass inside to Bai. Good hands to haul in that pass, but he couldn't get the ball to fall after that bank shot. Britain up the floor now. Colin Price, guarded closely by Konate. Nice pick set there by Dan Johnson, and left the lane open for Price, who's come up a little cold himself.
Yeah, that was good play. Very good basketball.
Philippe Mouton going to try and slow things down, or maybe set up the 3 for Philippe Bai, and sure enough he does. Bangs that one off the iron, and it goes out of bounds.
I would imagine the coach of France might have a few words to say to Philippe Bai on that shot. I mean, that's their biggest rebounder. Takes a 3-point shot with nobody else in a chance to rebound.
And that wasn't exactly the best quality 3-pointer. He was quite a ways out. He was off position. He wasn't centered.
A miscue there by Great Britain.
Here's a great
As we
break.
have a 3-on-0. Philippe Bai driving hard, and he's been missing some layup potential. Misses again with the air ball, and Great Britain fighting for that one. And we might have ourselves a jumper.
You know, Jack is.
Sorry.
Jack is I don't know about you, but as I was.
This is our game.
Yeah.
If you just calm down and just take the shots you should be taking.
Jean-Luc Jeanette in the ball game, and missing there was I.W.B.Delinquents. Great Britain quickly up the floor. A 3-on-2. The lane opens up, and Dan Johnson couldn't get fortunate with that
Here we go.
shot from the inside. Kanate, look at this. Bounce pass, got a little too fancy. He was looking for Bustila.
That was great defensive play out there by number 13 on Great Britain. I mean, he did the job to force Kanate to throw that ball back again.
Joe Girotney, the man you're talking about. More of a playmaker, but showed his defensive prowess there and hustling back. Lob pass inside intended for Tony Woolard. Kane trying to set things up. Girotney looking inside. Woolard was sliding in there, and
5 seconds in the key.
maybe he slid in there for a little too long, Jack.
Well, he slid in there, but then the French player kind of held him in there to make sure that the referee got it, you know. And my hope all the time, though, is that the officials would remember the rule is more than 5 seconds. And to give the guy the way we used to count it, or we hope the refs would count 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, get out of there, and then blow the whistle.
Kanate showing his great athletic ability, but couldn't get that one to go down as Girotney hustles up the floor. He's looking for two here, banks it off, and then deflected out of bounds by Philippe Luton.
Got a break. I didn't think that was an especially good time to shoot. I mean,
No, that's true.
you know, he didn't. Yeah, let's take a look. Maybe he did have a better shot than we thought he had. Oh, his. That's my man. I mean, I got a lot of time for him.
Bread and butter shot.
Yeah, he's not missing many of them.
Girotney with the ball. 3:45 to go. France leads 16.
And as they cheat and force in, they're going to collapse, and then they're going to start to shoot from outside and take advantage of the opportunity.
Simon Munn, who struggled from the courtesy stripe all tournament long, misses that one. Stepped up to the line with a 25% free throw average, and France breaks the ball back up the floor. Luton there. Gets the return pass. Oh, and a neat little pass to Bustila inside.
That's a
And
great
Simon
play.
Munn pretty much forced to take the foul there.
That's
Great
right.
positioning.
That was a good foul. That's not like some of the offensive fouls we've seen, which seem to be just grabbing and laziness. That's a foul to prevent an easy layup.
So up to the line goes Bustila. Drops that down with a lot of conviction. 17-15 the score. France on top. And promptly hits another. France up by 3.
You can feel the intensity starting to build in the French team, both on the floor and on the bench.
Steve Kane with the ball. Munn trying to get position inside, and then an outlet pass to Girotney, who has to hustle back to retrieve it. Nice little check there by Jean-Louis Granzato, and a nice save in itself by Dan Johnson. Kane inside, bounce pass to Woolard, off the glass and in, and Great Britain converts nicely there.
Great play. Drew the defense towards him and then kicked it back out.
Bustila, Kanate. Now Luton moves in. Little pass inside for Bustila. And look at that, 3 Great Britain players underneath the hoop. And they get the rebound, and quickly up the floor comes Janate.
Great
Swings it outside. Yes, you're...
important play. Important play for Great Britain here. And they've got to stop the little swing that France has started.
Well, Janate looking inside for Simon Munn, who hit the ejector seat there and went flying. They've got a little assistant there from Jean-Luc Jeanette, who brings the ball up the floor. Now hands off to Philippe Luton. Kanate, guarded closely by Steve Kane. I like this matchup. Lob pass inside for Bustila, and he tried to send it back inside. Nowhere to go, as Great Britain has really turned up the dial defensively.
Here we go. Got a great,
Dan Johnson, and forced to take the foul there was Kanate, or was he, Coach?
Oh, I think he certainly had to foul him then. It was a great play. Both of the Great Britain players, they had good spacing, you know, which is so important, and they forced a foul. Look at this, the spacing, and now he says, you want it? Come and get it.
That looked like a pretty clean swipe, but, you know, the ref, chances are going to go with the offensive player in a situation like that if they can't quite clearly see it.
And the best place, the second best place to watch it is down where the refs are. The best place to watch it is when you're coaching, sitting on the bench, because you never make a mistake then.
And with slow motion replay.
That's right. But when you're sitting on that bench coaching, you know, if you're a Great Britain coach, you know that was a great call. And if you're a French coach, you know that it was a bad one.
Dan Johnson goes 2 for 2 from the stripe. 19-18, Great Britain on top. 1:45 to go. And on back-to-back defensive plays, Great Britain has broken it up and come up the floor and connected. See what happens this time. Kanate and Kane battling it out. Nice little off pass for Jean-Luc Jeanette. Sneaking in is Kanate. Excellent dish to Bustila, and made no mistake there. Took an advantage of the defense there. 20-19. Steve Kane lobs it in, and now France has turned it up defensively.
That's right. Too big a crowd. I mean,
Kanate hustling in on a long pass and couldn't get that one to go. Steve Kane, as we're down to the final minute of this first half. Dan Johnson puts on the brakes, back out to Kane, wide open. And one of his few shots this first half, he was a little cold with that one.
He's a good, solid player, though. I mean, watching him throughout the tournament, he's very competent. He's not going to miss many of them. And I just hope that when he gets that one again, he takes it. You know, that doesn't hesitate.
Very intense player. Kind of surprised to see that he wasn't a starter this evening. Bustila, and a good battle with Callum Gordon. Gordon just checked in a couple of minutes ago. He's a pretty good player.
His first. At the line from France, number 8, Wahid Bustila.
And the problem again is he sets up in the lane, and once they get him the ball, there's not much you can do except foul him.
Bustila to the line. 68-point free throw shooter, misses on that one. And again, we've seen a surprise by Great Britain. Callum Gordon, who leads the team in scoring, was a late addition with about 2 minutes to go.
Oh, that's right. And I know with I guess with Great Britain shooting the foul shot, there's less of a chance of fouls. But number 6, Canada in France, has got 3 fouls. I'd hate to see him get his 4th just in the last 25, 30 seconds of the game.
20 seconds to go. France likely playing for the last shot as Mario Frasman has the ball. Nice little spin move. Gets crossed up to Kanate. Kanate, in fact, gets the pass. Hands back off to Philippe Noutin. Pass inside for Jean-Louis Granzato. And back to Frasman, who comes in and promptly makes his presence felt.
It's a great play.
They use tremendous offensive results, and it's very close.
He's trying to get them loosen up. This is a basketball game. Enjoy yourself. Get out there, hit those shots.
Yeah, they have to stay away from the offensive fouls. They've got to go back to the big man, none, and they've got to continue to exploit that until it no longer exists, and then they've got to look to some other alternative.
With the people they have out on the court, they're not in trouble with fouls right now with the 5 they have out on the court, whereas France has got to worry about their 2 best players. Number 6 and number 14 have got fouls.
Let's see how Great Britain is here. The first time they got the jump ball, they actually turned it over, and it caused some momentum problems for them. Let's see if they can get right into it right away.
Steve Kane to Dan Johnson. Quick shot off the rim. And there's Philippe Bai to haul that one in.
I think they got to, if that's a good shot, a solid shot, got a good shot from the foul and just didn't go.
Noutin to Bai, a pair of Philippe's hooking up. Spin move back to Noutin. Oh, and a beauty from 3-point range, and France goes up 25-19.
Noutin is now at 50% from the 3-throw line, 2 for 4, and exactly what you want from this guy, to be in the game close to the second half when it's a close game.
Mark Cheney, lob pass inside for Callum Gordon, fights his way off a couple of big Frenchmen and banks it off and in.
Gordon is a tough player, and it's very important for Great Britain to not let the tempo go right into France. I mean, it started off, I thought France if they could have stopped them down there, France would have been in great shape. And the turnover helps an awful lot for Great Britain.
And Gordon is their #1 offensive player, and they do have to bring him into the game at this point.
Kane moves in, sends a pass long to Johnson, back to Kane as they return passes. Lob inside to Callum Gordon, tried that same play again.
It's a good play, though. You know, Canute got in there and he knocked it loose, and, which he's going to do on occasion. But if you do the right things, eventually they're going to work.
We saw something kind of interesting there. A wise play by Abu Kanate to throw the ball off a British player and go out of bounds, and the Frenchman take over. But apparently this rule has changed after this tournament itself.
Is that right? And
yes, it is. Well, you can no longer throw the ball intentionally off the player to go out of bounds, especially when you're caught, you know, if you're trapped close to the baseline or on the sideline.
Yeah, it's much more difficult for an athlete in a wheelchair to move the chair out of the way of the bounce, so it really becomes a big advantage for the person bouncing the ball up.
All right, that's a good point.
Jean-Yves Renault, tough luck there, and Callum Gordon, who checked in with about 2 minutes to go in the first half, has looked good since he came in. He's got the ball now, sends it across to Mark Cheney. Steve Kane on the wing.
There's a mismatch.
Lob pass to Callum Gordon. And they got that mismatch perfectly.
That's right. They don't play around with them, and that's the way to do it. Once you get that mismatch, take advantage of it.
Luton.
And I guess we better explain what we're talking about. A mismatch, we see it here, is the size difference.
Yes, there's a tremendous size difference. Gordon is there. He's
right
a full elbow ahead of the guy and just puts it in. No pressure.
Duff sledding inside Callum Gordon, holding on the play. Rick, we're talking about size difference. There's also a size difference when it comes to the wheelchair itself. A lot of players will use the lower, more compact wheelchair, and the bigger players seem to want to sit more upright so they can get those rebounds inside.
That's right. Every time that you go down lower in your chair, you're getting more contact on the wheel and therefore more speed, but you're giving up height. So it's always a trade-off and a payoff. So just the bigger athletes, they'll want to give up a little bit of speed and they'll go up as high as they can, but they'll be a little bit slower as a result of that.
And Philippe Bai continues to bomb the three-pointers, and he's now 0 for 3 as he missed that one. Callum Gordon dishes to Steve Kane. He's guarded by Luton. Really like this matchup. Those guys have been going at it good. Lob pass to Johnson. Quick feed inside Gordon. And he looks to Mark Cheney, who goes baseline for Kane. Guarded there by Kanate. And there it is. Maybe we can explain another variation of a able-bodied rule.
And that was a 3-push or travel call. The rule of wheelchair basketball states that you can push twice and the ball has to touch the ground, bounce once at least before your third contact on the wheel, other than just a pivot. So if you start to move your hand along the wheel, that's considered 3 pushes and a travel.
Luton there to set up. Plenty of time. Didn't get the ball to fall.
I might add that once the ball has contacted the ground, you can go back and push another 2 times without bouncing again. We've forsaken the double dribble rule in favor of mobility.
Bai was fading backwards there, got his own rebound on a nifty dish, and then fired it home.
But I don't care what basketball you're playing, if you're allowed to go down and take 3 shots at the basket, you're going to score points. And that was just offensive rebound on the part of France.
Kane loses control.
Number 4 on Great Britain got dumped, and yet he was the guy that came over, helped him up, helped him get his strap organized. I mean, the sportsmanship is out here. They play as hard as anybody plays anywhere else. Seems to be a little bit more sportsmanship out here.
Excellent point, Jack, and an excellent 2 points by Simon Munn as Great Britain closes within 2. We'll talk about those glory days a little
All
bit.
right, that's right. Oh, don't worry. I want to talk about it more and more.
Well, Great Britain has shown they've had a number of points inside by Gordon and Nunn using the size advantage, and that's exactly what the coach told them that they wanted to do in the second half.
Bai forced the shot there. Great Britain got the ball back, and Kane misses the easy one from inside, and Bai, good hustle by the big man to get back there and get possession.
Got back, and he disturbed the shot. I mean, Kane didn't have as easy a shot as we would like him to have, or he would like to have, certainly. And
beautiful shot by Bai, and he's now starting to get back into the game.
Well, that's what he did. He went down, he played defense, he forced a tough shot, he got a rebound, brought the ball up, gave it to people, and then got himself in close to the basket. That's what he's got to do.
Bai's 9th points of the ball game gave France a 29-25 lead, 15:07 to go. Pretty good tempo here in the second half.
Yeah, they've started off a lot more loose and more comfortable here.
Which I think is predictable. I mean, I don't care how sophisticated you are. They're counting down now for Great Britain to get that ball in bounds.
You're watching the Gold Cup, the 6th World Wheelchair Basketball Championships from Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
By was called in a foul backing in on Gordon. Gordon had him beat and was moving around.
Is that? Oh, all right, okay.
Mark Cheney will inbounds. I think the foul was called on Bruno Godefroy. Good news for France. As Callum Gordon sets up nicely underneath and let a nifty shot go.
Gordon isn't going to miss many shots when he gets into the paint like that.
And he's definitely in the game now.
Mouton, Gordon, and Philippe Bay with some heavy hitting inside. Gordon tagged with a foul.
Maybe one of the reasons they had Callum Gordon out is because of those fouls, because he's only played probably 2 minutes here and another 5 or 6 here, and he's got his 3 fouls already.
Interesting that both of France and Britain's top players were cold in the first half, and they're both in the game and doing well in the second half.
Some excellent muscle inside by Bay. And there underneath the hole in the rebound was Jean-Yves Reynaud, and he was fouled.
Bay did a great job here because he knocked that ball loose, and although he didn't get the foul, he knocked it loose to the people who did get the foul. Look at this now, as that ball gets batted away, it gets tipped right back over there, and there's the foul. And I tell you, Bay has come to play the second half. Rick had mentioned it earlier, but he's really out there to play.
Reynaud hits on his first attempt. 30-27, France on top, 14:33 to go. Ooh, looked like that one was hanging perilously close to falling, but it didn't go. But France retains possession. Bay. And now Mouton to Kanate. Oh, and sneaking in there was a great pass from Bruno Godefroy. Snuck in there nicely. It didn't convert, though.
I think it was so good that it caught Bay by surprise.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to hook it in instead of loop it back to him.
Kane.
Big possession right now. I mean, Great Britain has come down twice and done diddly. They've got to do something right now.
Callum Gordon dishes to Dan Johnson. Off the glass and in. And a nice rolling shot that was.
That was a beautiful shot.
That's a great play to watch in stand-up basketball. The guy to go to the left side, shoot with his right hand. I've always thought that was a very almost ballet-type play.
Kanate takes the feed and banks it in. But in talking about that earlier bucket, that's got to be tough to do. You're rolling one direction, shooting against the grain. It's tough enough doing the pull-up jumper as an able-bodied athlete.
And that gets back to that kinesthetic sense. You just have to have a feel for how your chair is moving, and from within yourself, push the ball right into the opposite direction.
You and I talked about it briefly off the top. Balance has to be the key. Mm-hmm. And that's not easy for some of these athletes.
It sure isn't.
Johnson, pass inside for Munn. Sumo, as he's affectionately known, gets it to Cheney, and his pass misfired, and France breaks back.
Good defense, good team defense by France. They rotated down and cut off that pass.
Kanate. Reynaud. Very nicely done. As he was double teamed, he still got the ball away.
Well, they just relaxed for a second there, looking for him to pass it inside.
34-29, France leading. Steve Kane.
That basket had to fall.
That's right. Good, strong drive by Kane.
Reynaud, Mouton. Quick pass inside to Bay. Oh, and great strength and muscle to get his own rebound. And again, couldn't get that one to go down and quickly come back, Great Britain.
But if he can keep getting them, he'll make them. That's, I mean, in a crowd like that, you're not going to make the percentage you'd like. But let me tell you, to get that ball was the great athletic feat.
And you're going to make things happen, too.
He's definitely boosting his rebounding stats as Johnson tried to lay in. And Bay again with another rebound. Tough sledding inside, goes down. And Kanate will try and set things up. Bai gets back on his chair. And sure, there he is, right back into play again.
That's right. He really, I mean, he had the same type of spill in the first half and took his time getting into it. He's right back in the game.
Kanate, set shot, fired that one home, and France is catching fire. A 5-point lead with 11:30 to go. Johnson dipsy doodles his way around the top of the popper. Kane, and a collision inside. Might have been Simon Munn hooking up with Bruno Godefroy.
His 4 team score.
Fouls are the same, 4 and 4 for both teams, but we still got a few people that have got to come to play a little bit more. Great Britain's got to handle the ball a little bit better and eliminate any chance of offensive fouls or turnovers. They've got to get the ball down and shoot it regularly.
They've also taken Nunn out, given him a breather, because he's been a little bit tired out there, and they want him to be fresh for the home stretch here down the final, and Dave Bramley, number 15, is in for him.
And so too is Colin Price, who just missed on that shot. And a number 14 in the blue uniform, Philippe Bai, just missed there. Callum Gordon. Now Price, top of the key, Kane. And look at that traffic there. Kane with nowhere to go. Guarded nicely by Godefroy. Oh, but sends a lovely feed inside for Gordon, and he couldn't get that one. And some excellent tipping of the ball by the French team to keep possession.
That shot looked like something like Gordon would have made, but you know, he was rushing it because he was close, perilously close to 5 seconds in the key, so he really did force it on a time issue in the key.
Luta, nifty pass to Bai over to Kanate, and underneath grabbing the board was Dave Bramley. The bomber sends that one deep for Kane, slides in, and a nice bucket there as he had to fight off the check.
Well, Kane is a typical backcourt man in this level of basketball. He gets those little cheap ones, and now they've stolen the ball and he's got it back again. Price
with a nice steal, gets it to Kane, sends that one to Bramley, and there's Price gliding in. Tried to bank it off and in, and Yves Renault is there to grab the ball.
That last replay that we saw of Kane making that basket was really a clutch shot.
Nice pass inside Kanate. Top of the key now is Bai. Nowhere to go there. Renault with the pass inside, gets it back to Bai, and he's bombing from nowhere land. Missed that by a mile, and Callum Gordon hauls it in.
Yeah, he bombed that one because he was running out of time. The shot clock was down, and he had to get that ball up.
Kane with it now. Lots of room for him to set up.
Well, you know, Kane's a pretty good guy to shoot it. He's had 2 or 3 really top-notch plays in there. So, I mean, that's the guy I always like to see shooting the basketball. He's the guy who's been hottest lately.
Kanate. Luton. Back to Kanate. He's looking at it. Didn't get that one to go. And Dave Bramley picks it up. Now Colin Price. Weaving his way through traffic. He's going to go for it himself. And wow, what a collision that was.
We've got no basket, though. Let's see who the foul is on.
I believe it was on Bramley. Charging.
Well, let's take a look at this, because this looked as if... Here's Bramley.
What a gorgeous play here. Number 14, Price. But it was unfortunately negated by Bramley crashing in an offensive foul.
Because the basket was made, but the official felt the foul happened before the basket was made. Takes it away. But we still got ourselves a 3-point game, which is what Great Britain has got to keep in mind. It's a different angle, different look at this. Goes in, but unfortunately it didn't count.
There's the pileup.
Play back in Great Britain zone. Callum Gordon lobbing one up. And Colin Price has it now. He's got some room. Sends a pass to Mark Cheney. And wow, he was leaning way back when he shot that one. What a great bucket. A 1-point ball game. France on top, 36-35, exactly 8 minutes to go. Jean-Denis Aboucar checked nicely by Steve Kane, and Britain now breaking back up the floor.
Too much dribbling, you know, I mean, can't keep it up too much.
Callum Gordon looking for an outlet, finds Cheney. Now back to Price on the wing. He's setting up. And good hustle inside by Brownlee to get that rebound. Price now with it, saves it, but I think his wheel was out of bounds.
Great rebound by Bramley, though, underneath.
This is Gold Cup World Wheelchair Basketball from Edmonton. Newtown with the ball. He and Kane have raged a pretty good battle this evening. Long pass. Oh, great bucket that was. Philippe By.
And he was under pressure from Gordon, who's not a small guy, so that was a fantastic shot.
That's right, but it was his shot. You know, as you say, you could see the way he took it. He was loose. If he missed that shot, you'd still would have no complaint.
That's right.
Now Price hoping to respond. Missed that one considerably, and look at the fight inside by By. 3-on-1 there, and he still wins the battle.
Well, that's what he was looking for.
And draws the foul.
That's what he was looking for. Once they crowded him, he had really no choice. He couldn't get that ball away. He had to hold on to it and get fouled.
Let's take
we get a good look
at
at him here. Look at this. Now, there's intensity.
And also, you know, he's fishing, so there's a few sucker fish out there taking the bait.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's true. They like it. And I guess if you're Great Britain, you see all those hands going on to the ball. But the referee sees is that arm going on to the arm.
You can also see the frustration. Usually those kind of fouls take place after a missed basket, not after a made basket, or some really good defensive play to get it back.
The guy's not concentrating.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he's just saying he's not concentrating on what he's got in front of him. He's concentrating on what happened earlier.
And I think even more frustrating, not the fact that he's come to life here shooting, but he's grabbed in some big rebounds for France. Newton, double team, runs into Kane.
Well, Bay is their quality player. He should be doing it. That's what he's here for. I mean, and somebody just had to remind him, that's all.
Aboucar back to Kanate. Pass inside for Lionel Chavan, who's checked in. Oh, and there's By again. Good positioning. Couldn't get the ball to fall. Rebound hauled in by Dave Bramley, and he's fouled.
Brings him up. That's the 5th foul for France. They have 2 to give before Great Britain will start shooting. Next time that Great Britain fouls a common foul, France will get to shoot a 1-on-1.
This is a big series here with 6:20 to go. France on top by 3. Kane looking at it, gets it back out to Johnson, and a swisher, and a big one it was.
Nice balance on the team offensively. They spread them out. One of my concerns is, maybe John, you or Rick would know, I don't see anybody on Great Britain who could shoot a three-point play. I mean,
yeah, they don't have much of a three-point offense.
Yeah.
They can do it, but that's not one of their major weapons, whereas France definitely has at least 1, if not 2 or 3 players that can come in from the three-point line.
Great Britain only fired up 4 3-pointers throughout the entire tournament.
Because you can see how France knows that, and they're kind of hanging in, and yet Great Britain's been pretty successful inside, even though they don't have... Even though they don't have to worry about the three-point play, France is trying to sink in, and yet Great Britain is still taking advantage. But here's the man of the hour right now. He's the guy that's done a job.
No question about it. He's really come to form here in the second half. Made a nice little spin move there and was fouled. Steps up to the line and nails it. Pretty nice free throw average coming into this game, 72.5%. Missed the second one, but France still has a 2-point lead, and then he gets the ball back again. Newton, long distance shot, hauled in by Gordon.
I think that shot was a little bit more emotional. Newton wanted that to look good, but he was just a little out of his range and a little rushed. He's going to have a little bit more patience to take that three-pointer.
What we've got to remember out here is that Mr. Gordon has got himself, the man with the basketball right now has got 4 fouls. He's got to be very careful with himself. Long time to play.
Tried to take the dish from Johnson. Wasn't expecting it.
Liked about it was all positive.
Yes.
You know, too often you get into a huddle and people are saying what's wrong, and that's what the players think of as they go out. The wrong plays.
That was a tactical timeout too, because we know it's coming up to the 5-minute mark, and what he's really doing is getting them focused and settled, and they still have a timeout. So you know, they're using that one, trying to make sure that they're in the game here.
And Bai finds the pot of gold at the end of that three-point rainbow. 42-37 France, or 42-37 France on top. 4:50 to go. Now let's see if Great Britain can do what they tried to talk, or they were talking about during that huddle.
Well, that's a good move right now. That's a good start on it. Steve Kane took in. He's got the opportunity now with the clock stopped to score 2 points.
Well, that three-point shot by Bai was just reflective of what you talked about earlier, Jack, and that France definitely has the weapon in Newton and Bai and a couple of others. So they can go to that, whereas Great Britain really doesn't like to.
Kane hits that one, and Simon Munn has just checked in. Had a pretty good first half. Comes into the game with 10 points.
The rule, Rick, on violating that line is what? When the ball leaves the player's hands?
Yes. Someone was just a little too anxious there.
Sweat pouring off Bai's jersey. He's really worked hard here in the second half. And he's got his work cut out from there as Gary Peel tries to haul him down. El Kanate. Newton. Bai looking for that three again.
Shot clock is running down. They're in trouble here.
3 seconds on the shot clock. And the hook by Philippe Newton got away just before the 30-second buzzer.
Well, as Rick said, they had to get it up there. Didn't have much of a choice as to what kind of shot.
It's a great defense from Great Britain.
That's the kind of shot that Kane's been hitting. Couldn't get that one to go. And Kanate has it back. Busts his way up the floor as France tries to set up. There's Newton inside for Bai, leaning back, couldn't get that one, and Steve Kane will take over. Back they come, the Frenchmen. Trying to provide a little resistance here defensively. They've got a 4-point lead with 3.5 minutes to go. Dan Johnson now for Great Britain. Pass inside and some quick, nifty passes, and finishing off was Gary Peel. And a foul called, looking for the 3-point play.
That's some great ball movement right out there. And now they have the opportunity to make that 3-point play.
What we want to be able to do is take a look at the 3 moves that took place here with the ball dishing off, using the pick and roll that led to that basket. It was really fantastic. It was really a classic example. Here we go. He's got the ball. He's dishing it off, driving through the key, passing back. And that was all created because of the pick and roll up top.
Perfectly executed play, and Peel trying to make that 3-point play complete, couldn't. And Kanate in a battle with Kane comes up with the ball. Newton. 3:10 to go, France leading by 2. Now Newton, long pass to Bai. Couple of white shirts there preventing him from shooting. And Peel peeling after him. And Kane nearly stole the ball. Falling off his chair. Philippe Bai gets that one to go, and a 4-point lead now.
He willed that one to go in, huh?
This is on play of the week. Let's take a look at this. Here he is. He's struggling. He's under pressure. He's falling backwards in his chair, out of it. And there it goes. Right off the hoop. Perfect execution.
Incredible strength. And he's muscled his way through a number of times here in the second half. He has 17 points, and Gary Peel gets his own rebound. Couldn't get that one to go in France with a key turnover here.
This is the French voodoo time.
That's right, because that was 2 easy chippies he had in there.
Kanate, showtime, and Mark Cheney had to take the foul with the...
And Kanate threw it up there just hoping, first of all, to get 2 shots, and also hoping that it might slide in there.
You're watching the Gold Cup, the 6th World Wheelchair Basketball Championship from Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Rick, the reason I like Canati so much, I think, is that he has the upper body build the same as myself. His arms are longer, though. His arms are a little longer. He has that advantage. He is... I think those long arms, first of all, people think about it in the rebounding, but I think about it when he goes to play defense. He just takes up bigger and bigger room.
He slaps that ball away like there's no tomorrow, and we've seen it a couple of times throughout this tournament. He's got huge hands, too.
He makes this one. He's shooting about 70% from the floor, from the foul line. So, woo, he doesn't make it again.
But there it is, right back at him.
That hurts.
You got to use up the clock here with less than 2 minutes into play as we're coming at the 2-minute mark.
Philippe by, and there's Steve Kane moving out front to provide a little resistance. By to Canate. Things sort of open up because wheeling in was Bruno Godefroy, wide open, but Newton gets the ball.
That's a break. Break right there for Great Britain, because that was an open shot with the clock going down.
You get a sense that Great Britain is feeling a bit of desperation, and yet, you know, the time is an only 4-point difference. There's still a lot of time here. They can't abandon what's been working for them.
Dan Johnson to Kane, 1:30 to go. France with a 4-point lead, 44-40 the score. Johnson held up by Bai as the shot clock runs down to 5 seconds. 3. And
great pressure by
a violation there, forcing the turnover. Or was that a foul?
Well, I think it's a 12 hasn't been to the line. So, I mean, in the tournament, so maybe he'd be the guy you'd be looking. I wouldn't want to foul this guy, and I wouldn't want...
Canate is only 37.5%, and he's just missed 2 free throws, so it might not be a bad deal. I hate to knock your guy, Jack, but...
Yeah. I must have been looking at another stat. I didn't know he had...
This is the Gold Cup World Wheelchair Basketball Championship from Edmonton. Semi-final action, our first game. As Dan, you got to know France isn't going to be too aggressive out there, especially if Bai made that one, and sure enough,
there's their 5, and then France is just got to play it out and not do anything silly now. The most that can happen is 2 quick possessions by Great Britain.
Now Kane with a minute to go. France 45, Great Britain 40.
They've got to be moving this ball up. This has got to be a 3-pointer right here.
Kane way short with a 3-pointer.
I think he threw that pass.
Simon Munn, who makes it.
Now you got to foul somebody. Maybe that guy would be a good one.
Godefroy gets it away to Newton. Now Reynaud back to Newton.
Once it opens up like this, yeah, it's tough because it's going to come out again.
I mean, I can't believe there's no one coming up here to foul.
Yeah.
Well, that's something, an intentional foul. It could be costly because you give up the 2 and the possession.
Yeah. But the idea is that when I say intentionally foul, I think when you get down in this situation, the fouls are intentional.
Right.
The key is to play the ball and to kind of run through the ball, so it's the referee is not going to try and read your mind on it.
Give a timeout, France. They're going to want to talk things over with only 23 seconds. They're going to the line. You're going to see...
That's a guy who you wish was not going up there if you're Great Britain. Now we need 2 baskets. And this would literally end the game if he makes it. I'm not that Great Britain is going to give up, but if he makes this, now you're talking about 3 and 2. You've got to come up with 5 points. You don't have a 3-point shooter. Got to make a 3-pointer, foul, make another basket, or steal.
The bucket there because of a line violation. Is that the call?
It might be. Yeah. All right. They got their 3. And they did it so quickly. They're right in it.
Comes out of nowhere with that one.
We got a timeout, France. All right.
Well, this is interesting now.
That's right.
15 seconds, you'll see a full court press.
That's right.
Try a prevent defense to be in position in front to force the longer pass. Have a few guys in the back.
Right after that basket, they're spread out all over. See if we're going to zone or man-to-man. I would imagine man-to-man is picking up men. Everybody's got a man. Yeah, all right. So we're in a man-to-man press. We're going to look at a quick foul.
Steal there by Simon Munn, and he couldn't get it. Gets his own rebound. Foul by Philippe Bai. What a turn of events.
What a game. What a game.
You know, watch this. I think you can see, gentlemen, when this turnover takes place, Nunn can't believe he has the ball in his hand. He does a double take at the basket, and I'm sure that must have thrown off his concentration.
Now, wait a minute.
Are they calling it intentional? No, this is
foul.
something that we talked about a little bit earlier.
2 shots and the ball. Well, this is the key one. I mean, I don't know if I've seen this very often. Holy mackerel.
Critical miss.
But they have an opportunity to win it now. The inbounds play, 8 seconds to go. France with a 1-point lead, 47-46. Steve Kane will handle the inbounds duties. And wide open is Dan Johnson. And gets it!
Oh! Unbelievable. Here we go.
And time is...
And the ball's knocked loose again.
What an outstanding finish.
I'll tell you what. It is going to be something. Look at those people.
This game is going to go down in the highlight books of all international competition. The biggest lesson here will be never, ever give up, no matter what time is left on that clock. Look at the excitement out there on the court.
This is something.
And Dan Johnson was completely wide open.
Well, I tell you, just look at it.